We welcome in the Interim Director of Athletics at Fordham, Ed Kull. Ed, I'm sure it's not the typical first couple of weeks on the job, but how have you been hanging in?
I appreciate it, Manny. Great to be with you. It's interesting times, to say the least, and always been my dream and desire to be an athletic director, and was kind of prepared for some of the exercises and conversations and meetings, of course, but I don't think anybody's been prepared for the pandemic crisis and our unique circumstances. But we are holding up okay, and thank God everybody in my family is safe and healthy and doing okay. Hopefully the same for you. And we're just trying to prioritize the safety and healthy of our student athletes, and a lot of what ifs and a lot of multiple models and plans, but whatever we could do to make sure it's comfortable and appropriate and safe for our student athletes right now is conversations with our Patriot, Atlantic 10 league conferences, our university committees, listening to our governor and our mayor, everything I'm sure you're doing the same with right now.
So you're getting acclimated to the role, but in a remote setting. Can you walk us through a day in the life right now of what you're dealing with, trying to acclimate, but also make plans to get everything back up and running?
So day in the life is not nothing too extravagant, but I am home. I'm on Long Island with my family. I have my beautiful wife, who also is able to work from home, which is great. She's an ABA therapist, works with children with autism. And my two young boys that are 8 and 9, second and third graders, doing homeschooling, or they call it virtual learning right now, though we're all hands-on and supporting of those two. So that's been interesting, to say the least. Another full-time job for us, but a lot of fun in spending some additional time with them. Try to get up at 6, try to mix in a workout. The Peloton's become my new best friend. Though I'm also eating a lot in terms of balancing my workouts, but at least getting that in. And try to get going with some coffee and the newspaper by 7. And there's been a lot of reading, as you would imagine. So everybody's got thoughts and articles. So you try to digest and absorb as much content that's out there, not only from our government leaders and our politicians, but also from the NCAA leadership and our conference leadership and what other schools are doing. So try to absorb as much as I can before getting the day going. And then there's a handful of Zoom meetings right off the bat. And then what I've aggressively tried to do the first week on the job is try to reach out and connect with as many alumni and Fordham supporters as possible. Good news is, I've been at Fordham a couple of years now, so at least have some of those relationships. So it wasn't all brand new in terms of starting that process. So good to outreach them. And I got to say, another positive of the circumstances is everybody's home, and a lot more people are accessible and available to talk. So it's actually been really productive in getting additional time with a lot of our key ambassadors and key supporters and investors. So that's been helpful. And then really checking in on our staff, our coaches, our student athletes. I think as much as we know they're home and safe and they're doing okay, as you can imagine, I'm sure like yourself, it takes a toll on you mentally, physically, and emotionally. And there's not enough conversations to be had in terms of just checking on them personally. How you doing? How's your family? Everybody's had somebody impacted by this right now, and everybody's trying to stay safe and healthy. So how do we continue to inspire, motivate, and honestly keep it lighthearted, try to laugh as much as we can. So that's been helpful. And, my advice to my team is how do we make this positive? And like for me, being able to spend more time with my children and family, and I'm advising everybody to do the same. Take advantage of this window of time that you'll never have to be home and to interact and spend with your loved ones.
So speaking of some of those happenings that could be in store, you just got off a 3-day Atlantic 10 conference virtual meeting and a big announcement pertaining to the sports that could be upcoming in the fall, the winter. And one of the announcements is that 25% is going to be regionalized and condensed in volleyball, women's and men's soccer, baseball, softball. What was your initial reaction to the news that we could see a much different conference schedule come next year?
Yeah, it's, again, I know I've only been on the job a few weeks, but it's conversations that we've been having with the athletic directors for a few weeks and even in this transition. I thought it was really strong leadership. I think it's strong direction. I know it's disappointing, of course, to all of our teams, all of our student athletes, all of our conference memberships. But, I think hopefully everybody feels some comfort and stability that there's direction, there's a plan. Our intention is to, of course, get out there and play. And we have to put the health and safety of our student athletes first. And limiting air travel, Manny, is a smart and very, very efficient decision. And obviously, being able to keep it a regionalized schedule is helpful for everybody in terms of bus trips and keeping it easier. And again, trying to maintain a lot of the unknown that we have right now and focusing on the safety of our student athletes. So I think it was really a strong leadership of our commissioner and our ADs. Our AD chair is Thor Bjorn out of University of Rhode Island. So I thought he was very much helping to spearhead and get that done, and including even the spring. To be honest with you, Manny, some folks have asked me about, why the spring right now. And I think we're ultra sensitive to our spring athletes, knowing that, of course, their season just got canceled. So we wanted to be able to provide them some additional stability and direction and knowing, hey, here's our intention for next spring. And yes, right now we're limiting air travel for you as well with a regionalized schedule, but our intent is to play and we want them to feel good. And, I think in a world right now of unknown, the more known that we can provide, the more facts we can provide and direction, I think the better in terms of comfort and stability right now.
So you've been at Fordham for a few years, and you mentioned how it's a dream to be in a role like this as athletic director. You have experience at St. John's, assistant, associate AD, vice president of athletics, and also have been involved in a lot of corporate deals. With all that being said, what draws you so much to Fordham and Rose Hill?
The honest truth is, and I'm extremely humbled and honored for this opportunity to be athletic director here at Fordham. It honestly goes back to my roots and my upbringing. So family, born and raised, obviously, born in family from Greenpoint, Brooklyn, born there, raised in Queens, Middle Village, Queens. Always Catholic education for me. My family emphasized that from pre-K through 12th grade was Catholic education, and first generation college graduate. Family met my dad was in New York City Department of Sanitation. So the city is in my blood. Catholic education is what I know. And Fordham's values and mission, it's a real comfort for me, to be honest with you. It feels really appropriate and what I know and who I am. And I think the Jesuit mission and a lot of our alums who fall in that first generation college graduate category, local members in New York City, and it's who I am. I think my first week or two on the job, it was Jubilee, and I got to hear Father McShane give a speech to our Golden Rams, and he talked about the grit and determination and the hard work ethic of our alums and their community and where they're from, and that's exactly how I was raised. That's where I'm from. That's who I am, and that speaks volume to my character, my values, my ethics and integrity. So it's comforting and comfortable to be a part of a mission and organization, institution that I feel so proud to be a part of. That my family represents, that I would want my children to attend and be a part of, and I'm proud to bring my family on campus. And the other part is, New York City is always been home to me. So the two campuses, Lincoln Center and Rose Hill, are just gorgeous and they're spectacular places. I didn't know a lot about Lincoln Center till I got here, and I'm just blown away by what's Father McShane and leadership here have done and built. And I'm just bullish on the entire stock of what we can continue to do and build on the athletic piece. And I think my experiences, even from another Catholic institution in the city, St. John's, for 10 years, really has given me an understanding of the global perspective of a Catholic school, a Catholic institution, and how athletics can be a real support mechanism to everything Father McShane believes in and has built in terms of his efforts and strategic plan here. And whether that be, of course, academics and our incredible top 50 education here, but obviously on fundraising, community outreach, our connectivity to parents, school spirit. So I look at it really in a 360 wheel of how athletics is a support mechanism for all of them. And I'm really thrilled and excited, and I can't thank Father McShane and Vice President Jeff Gray and our Board of Trustees enough for their faith and confidence in me to continue our this incredible mission and this incredible effort.
So you've already hit the ground running. You've had a lot of outreach with alumni, as you spoke to earlier. What's your vision for the role moving forward?
First and foremost, obviously in terms of this unique time, a unique transition, it is to continue to engage all of our student athletes, our coaches, our staff, our administration, and that is challenging, of course, doing that from a home office. But that make sure we're establishing a culture and environment of continued care and connectivity, and as we talked about, the personal connection early on and checking in during this situation. But it's also a means, almost kind of like a three-bucket approach, where a three-prong approach. First, the safe and healthy of our student athletes, that culture and environment within our athletic department, and then looking at where we have some opportunities to grow and develop. And I'm really thankful to and want to congratulate Dave Roach, on his retirement and his incredible 50-year career in this industry. Not easy by any means, 50 years in collegiate athletics, and a tremendous coach, and as well as an athletic director at 3 Division I institutions is just remarkable. And I want to continue his efforts and his momentum that he's put into Fordham. But a strategic plan is something I'm really excited about. And, obviously it takes a little bit of a wrinkle and a change here in the pandemic, but it's something that I'm really, I've done before at past institutions and my past efforts of a career. But I think it's something that inspires, motivates, and will really enhance the efforts of our internal Fordham community, as well as our external investors and shareholders and alumni, that we really want to continue to engage and get involved in this process. And that's everything from obviously our efforts on the athletic side, of course, of success, and academic success, of facility upgrades, of facility renovations, pieces that we need to do to continue to compete at a high level in the Atlantic 10 and Patriot League conferences.
You talked about facilities, and finances are made complicated by a situation where so many lives have been affected during a pandemic. How do you juggle that and also go all in on what's your ultimate goal for the facilities at Fordham?
So great question. And again, in terms of the unique time we're in, I think I represent, in my past experiences, whether that was my years at St. John's or, working in the corporate world as an entrepreneur with Vitamin Water or Coca-Cola or the experiences with the NFL, I know I represent an external piece, whether that be revenue generation. Of course, that represents fundraising, marketing, and I'm excited about that. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for Fordham Athletics in those areas to grow and really expand. And I think, my business experience gives me a lot of opportunity and potential in collegiate athletics. And I think that's important in an athletic director today, to have a lot of the business experiences and that business development aspect of things. So that was always been my drive and been my priority and my focus. Now obviously with the unique situation of the pandemic, we'll continue to monitor that circumstances and how that changes things. And you talked earlier about the reduced regional conference schedule and some of the pieces. It's a lot of unknown right now, Manny, to be honest with you. And I only think it's going to emphasize and increase the importance of a revenue generation model and our business development focus and the fundraising needs to get not only through these challenging times, but to continue to the facility renovations and upgrades that we need. And they're not, listen, I know facilities are always a hot topic in collegiate athletics and competing with your peers and competing with the Joneses. But that's a common conversation at every institution. And I think, for us, it's a common conversation that you see at a lot of athletic departments, especially a lot of Catholic urban schools. And I'm excited about it. And I believe we have the interest. I believe we have the community support. I believe we have the alumni network out there to really get behind this and get supportive. And I think there's even a lot of growth opportunity in our corporate sponsorship piece, which I'm excited to tap into, and of course have some past experiences in doing that.
Before we let you go, if there's one hobby, one thing about you that you would want people to know aside from the obvious in your experience, what would that be?
I think the interest for me, or kind of my career experiences have always been in development and been in marketing or been in business development or sponsorship sales and kind of a revenue generating role. And I think, yes, and I've enjoyed that, and I can't wait to continue to expand that at Fordham here in the Fordham Athletic Department. But I think it also speaks to my skill set and my enjoyment of interacting with people and meeting new folks, meeting new partners, meeting alumni, learning their story, their Fordham experience, whether that be with their spouse, their partner, their best friend, their clubs, their interest, and their current businesses that they're in or companies that they are part of. And that is something I really enjoy. And yes, it's a major part of my job, whether we talk about speaking to alumni or donors on a daily basis or interacting with new opportunities and ventures that we want to be open-minded with. But I thoroughly love people and I enjoy interacting with folks. And the more I think we can get out there and interact and find opportunities in our community, especially in New York City, and the strong alumni network that we have, that really inspires me. It really gives me, it's the action that I enjoy, and it always leads to another opportunity. One alum leads to another alum, one corporate opportunity leads to another. So I thoroughly like that. And I think even in my time, previously as, Vice President of Athletics at St. John's, when I had left to work at Vitamin Water and that entrepreneurship experience, and then eventually at Coca-Cola, a top 5 brand of the world, those were additional MBAs that I got in my life, and it just continues to expand with interacting with folks and new ideas and new thinking and how can we be more creative, be more innovative. And I think that's forever an opportunity, not only in higher education, but in athletic departments as they expand and grow in the world of media and social media and marketing and all the aspects of recruiting and highlighting and building a brand. And those are the things I'm excited about bringing to this job here at Fordham University and our Fordham Athletic Department.
That's Ed Kull. He's the new interim athletic director here at Fordham. Ed, congratulations, well deserved, and thanks so much for doing this.
Manny, my pleasure. Thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you and your team more.